Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit or Zappy here, back again with Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex Season 1. We are on episode 14, and in the last episode, not really much to talk about considering it was a standalone episode, so there's no reason to really go into it. But of course it was about a kid that was the daughter of a guy who owned a company that was involved in obviously cybernetics and everything like that. She was cyberized as a very young kid. Basically is like product, like, you know, placement and helping sell the fucking, like, you know, their products and everything like that. But yeah, she got kidnapped, and then she turned up, what was it, 16 years later or 10 years later, something like that. And yeah, there's this whole thing with, like, the old woman was actually Eka, and, you know, she has basically a daughter that looks exactly like she did. So I think there's things with, like, it must be clones and everything like that. I mean, if you do want to go watch what I think about it, then you can obviously go watch the discussion for last episode. But yeah, other than that, I don't need to really talk about anything. So we're going to get in episode 14. If you do want to go watch the actual reaction, links in the description below to the 10-minute version. There's also the link to the full length there. If you do want to watch it in full and not just that 10-minute version, then the offer is there for you. But yeah, nothing else to really talk about, so we're going to get in episode 14 and see what we get. So without further ado, let's go. Okay, episode 14. Right, now that was a more interesting and sort of better developed standalone episode than episode 13. Much better. It was much more like... We got a lot of information in, you know, the moments like sort of leading up to the end of the episode. But obviously the big revelation, I suppose, was that the investor, Yokose, was already dead, and he had been for, I think, what they said like 3-4 months. But yeah, I like these ones. I love these standalone ones that are involving other parts of the world. You know, like, for instance, obviously the one with Bato and, you know, America, the American Empire and everything, and now with China. And the thing is as well, like, that guy who Aramaki called was interesting. Like, I mean, the only real tidbit I really got from him that could obviously point Section 9 in the right direction was the fact that he gave up the fact that, like, there may be a hitman, right? But I don't know, like, he seemed... I was waiting for something to be a bit fishy about him. And I don't know, maybe the way he was going on could be. I just feel like in this world, there's so many people that are out only for themselves, you know? And there isn't really a lot of, like, true friendships between, like, these people that they would lead you to believe. But, you know, I mean, there's nothing else on that other than what, like, my specific feeling about it, you know what I mean? He could be a really good guy, who knows? But yeah, so there was I really liked the hitman, actually, or the hitwoman, I should say, in a way, because there wasn't obviously a lot with her, but because of what was revealed at the end before she was about to shoot the dead body, was that, you know what I mean? Obviously, she doesn't like capitalism. This guy who is taking, like, all of this money seemingly for no real reason other than the fact of, like, he can do it and he does it as a game kind of thing, and taking it from the poor. So she's kind of like a you know, a hero of the poor in a way. You know, she could be like just a badass woman, fucking Robin Hood, but she doesn't steal, she just kills the guy. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? Like, I don't know, like, killing him would stop him from taking that money, but I don't think she would have gotten that money and give it all back to people, you know what I mean? I mean, there's no way she could have. I mean, did you see the stacks of just gold? And God, there was fucking... it's just insane. Yeah, I mean, I like her as a character, I feel like, and I feel like she was very much hard done by, because she literally came here to do that and then basically got lifted by the police for no reason. The guy was already dead. But I mean, yeah, that's what happens. But I guess she was doing it for the right reasons. I almost can picture like a backstory with her where she like came from like a very, I think she came from poverty, and because like she maybe, when you grow up in poverty, it's easy to be surrounded by the underworld, right, and like all of that shady stuff. So it's not a surprise that she got into that business of being a hit woman. And everything like that, but she still holds those ideals of like people who are just who are making money, and the rich get richer kind of thing. She doesn't like all that shit. She hates capitalism. So, yeah, I can see all of that. I can basically just picture all of that. So for her as a character that had very little screen time, I quite liked her, to be fair. And yeah, I love the fact that of like the symbolic nature of using coins as her ammunition. It's like you love money so much, well, you can die by it, right? Like it's just that symbolic nature. I was wondering, like when she had it in the car, and she was like, what is that? What is that ammunition? But yeah, I love our fucking arm cannon thing. That's really cool. There was also another one, the what they refer to as the Pioneer model, which was just a straight up android, which was insane. It looked like he had a cannon like here, like down in his midriff, while his eye was like embedded in in the guy's mouth. That was just really, really insane. So yeah, it's to do obviously the South Sea Mafia anyway, where the hitman come from. Femme, that's her name. So yeah, it was just an empty fucking, like an empty mansion with robots. It's basically what it was. But it's interesting that I guess the androids would have just been programmed to assume that he was sleeping, right? And their, their system, because it's not like learning AI kind of thing with them, is it? It's just that they are a program that has been written that way, and that's what they stay as. You know what I mean? They never go, like, they never gain any sort of sentience themselves, or really like learn. So yeah, I mean, they would have just been programmed to assume that he's resting, and yeah, the whole thing with Tagusa, like giving the guy the coin, which was interesting, like to pay for like the ferry. And I didn't know really what to take from that, other than I don't know what like if Tagusa's religious or like in any way, shape or form, or what. Because I assume if he's talking about the ferryman, he's talking about like using it to travel to the afterlife kind of thing. But then like the only religion I think that does that I'm aware of anyway, there could be others where I'm completely wrong, but the Egyptians did that, right? Like with mummies and stuff. That's why all the pharaohs were like buried in a tomb with all of their riches and things like that, so that they could take them through and everything to the afterlife, and it's like a symbol of like how much you're worth and everything like that. So it's an interesting thing that Tagusa did that, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the Robo Dogs. I would like for Bato to keep them, but I don't know if that is the case. I didn't see them afterwards. You know what I mean? But he was, he was loving them. So I feel like it would have been great, but who knows? So yeah, I mean, what more? The last thing, right? I should have probably talked about this first, but yeah, the last thing that we saw there, now this is a standalone episode, so I'm not sure if I'm supposed to take this as like, oh, it's the first crossover, because I'm sure that this is the first crossover we've had in a standalone episode where there's been an obvious connection to the Laughing Man thing. Now my first thought was, is the Laughing Man setting him up, or whoever's doing this setting him up? Because obviously the last Complex episode with where he went to the asylum and everything, and he came back out and he was, he ended up drawing the Laughing Man logo instead of the kid. Like maybe like introducing all of this stuff, all this connecting things to Tagusa, maybe setting him up, or gradually. See, I don't know, because the fact that it's a standalone episode makes me think like, what if? Because the Yokose, the investor guy, how did he die? I mean, he didn't look that old, so not like just dying, like it wouldn't have been of old age, but he looked fucking up. But then again, I mean, being dead for that long, you know what I mean? Your body's just decomposed, so you couldn't really tell. But and hair obviously continues to grow. His hair was white, so but I'm pretty sure he wasn't old. So it's like, how did he die, or did he purposely leave? What if he? Because I'm wondering if that. Like, is it just a? Like, is the mangaka trying to just joke around with like using Serrano as the one that they choose to purchase stocks in? Is just like a way to like sort of like what's the term? What's the bloody term? No, what is it? Where they like, like where the story like is written in such a way so that they throw you off the track, like so they make you think that, oh my god, it must be the Laughing Man that's doing this because it's Serrano. But what if the investor guy, his body is dead, but is he like, could he have uploaded himself like into? But then, well, no, because then it would have to be, unless he just uploaded himself like to the internet, But then, and like he's like still doing the stocks thing, because that's what it was all about. If he's still doing it as like a game. I don't know. It could be either or. It could be obviously a connection to the Laughing Man, or it just could be that. It could just be like throwing them off, like, I can't remember the fucking term for it, man. No! I need to like... I don't even know if I could find it. I'm really... It really annoys me that I can't think of it. So I really want... I don't know. Shit. What is it, man? I'm sure you know what I mean. But I'm just doing this for me. Throws you off track, maybe. A red herring. That's it. That's the phrase I was talking about. There we go. Right. So yeah, I was thinking like it could be just a red herring that they are throwing that in there as to kind of just make you think about what it could be. But the fact is, it's a standalone episode. I don't know if this carries on. If we do get another episode later on where Togus is like, or like maybe like Togus's missus is like, I don't remember putting stocks in this or something like that, and then that leads into whatever. Who knows? We'll just it's something we'll just have to kind of wait and see. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much all I got. Other than that, the last thing is like the Tachikomas, man. They are becoming like more jokey. You know what I mean? As time goes on, I know they are like AI, so they do. You know what I mean? They're not like androids in the way where they're just like programmed to be that way, right? Like they do have like some semblance of like, you know what I mean, like their own kind of thinking, right? So it feels like they are sort of evolving over time, which is nice to see. I don't know if that has any, like, if the implications of that are from the episode 12 standalone episode. I don't know if that's where the implications are coming from that, after getting like a more like a bigger idea of what humans are about and everything like that, and how they think and stuff. I don't know if that is where that's coming from, or it's just for the fact of like the Tachikomas are, the longer they are around, the more information they absorb, or experience points as they call them. You know, but yeah, it's funny to see. It's funny to see, especially like with Motoko being like, can we introduce like some kind of punishment like system in there? Oh, it's funny. It's really funny. They're like little kids, man. I just really like the Tachikomas, but yeah, that's all I've got. So thank you for watching. If you do want to gain access to episode 15 and 16 right now, you can do by becoming an early access tier patron over on my Patreon. Link is in the description. That's for $5 a month, and it gives you access to shows a week early. There's also the full length tier there if you do want to watch any of these in full and not just the 10-minute version. And there's also the exclusive tier where you can watch the reactions to movies and things like that when I start reacting to movies and everything. So yeah, go have a look at those, see what they offer. There's also a link to the Discord down there. If you do want to come over, then you can do. But that is all I've got, so thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.